And welcome back. Joining us now is candidate for the 18th District, Michael Beltzer. We welcome him now to the show. Good to have you on in the district.
Thank you for having me.
Good. So as you're another candidate as well, and talk to us about why it's important for you to run for this district seat.
Well, my name is Michael Beltzer, and the reason I'm running is because I'm committed, I'm capable, and I care. So I've been someone who's been serving the district for quite some time in a volunteer capacity. So whether it be on my local community board, whether it be as a friend of Soundview Park or a member of my 43rd Police Precinct Council, or just hosting events throughout the community, people have always told me, hey, you got a lot of passion, you really seem to care, you got a lot of knowledge and ability, why don't you do more with all of that? So, you know, this is an open seat, so I figured why not? And with the New York City Campaign Matching Fund program, it really enables a grassroots candidate like myself to really go out there and bring the message to the voters. So that's what we're doing.
What's the message you want to send to voters?
The message I want to send to voters is that they matter. That you know, that you don't have to just wait on elected officials or the powers that be to make change in your community. I'm running to serve as a city council member, but I'm not running to serve as a mini mayor or a mini dictator, you know, just imposing my will. I often tell residents that if I can't just go and do it by myself. If I'm not listening to you, if you're not joining me, we're not going to be able to change as much as we can. So I really want to empower people civically and politically.
So when we look at the 18th District, a lot of things are going on in the area. What do you highlight as some of the big issues that really need to be dealt with?
So the number one concern in the district is public safety. You know, so we need better collaboration with the police and also for residents to feel empowered to work with them. But transportation, we're seeing it around the city. We're in a crisis, and District 18 is no different. We have large populations that live in transit deserts. They live in two fare zones. So often, you know, even myself, it used to sometimes take me an hour and a half, 2 hours to get downtown because you're waiting on buses that don't always come. They're overcrowded because they're either not big enough or they're bunched up. And, you know, they're just not working the way that they should in a world-class city like New York City. And then education, you know, I'm a public school parent, a proud public school parent of a 7-year-old daughter, and she's in a school that her playground is sinking, she's drinking out of lead pipes, she's getting services in the hallway, and she's not even getting real physical education. So these are things that are important to me and to people in the district.
Now, we've interviewed some other candidates, and Senator Diaz is a strong supporter of charter schools. How do you feel about that?
So I, like I said, I'm a proud public school parent. I'm not necessarily against charter schools as a model, but they do not need to be taking our public resources away from students in the district. So if charter schools want to be good actors, they want to be fiscally transparent and accountable, they can do that. But they should also be finding their own spaces to do it. You know, I worked in the New York City Comptroller's office for almost 5 years, raising over $100 billion for our parks, bridges, roads, and schools. Now, so taxpayers built those buildings. So if we're going to be putting people into those buildings, they need to serve the public good. And right now, charter schools are not a good actor in that regard, so they should be finding their own space. If they want to build their own buildings, they want to be in their own schools, that's perfectly fine.
How do you attack the homeless crisis to jail? You have 18 homeless shelters right there, family shelters right in your area. How do you attack the homeless crisis?
So, you know, there's a many layer approach that needs to go into that. Right now, what we're really facing is the fair share criteria. Is that being applied to places like the Bronx? You know, Community District 9, like you said, has a bunch of shelters already. We're already doing our burden. But you look at other community districts throughout the Bronx and throughout the city, they don't even have one. So this conversation, let's add 90 new shelters, it needs to be really vetted by the communities that they're trying to place these shelters in. And we actually had an example in Community District 18, is we had a 200-bed men's shelter that was supposed to come in. The community said no. So I worked on the task force to help move forward a new plan. So a new plan will include supportive housing with affordable housing, because people who are undomiciled, they need a home. They don't just need a shelter. And a shelter, there's a lot of people who won't even go into a shelter because of the way that shelters are run. So this shelter is the panacea to solving homelessness. I just don't agree with it.
So when we look at the district let's talk a little bit about development, community development. You see a lot of development that's going on. Some people are saying too much development is going on. How do you view the development situation?
So this is New York City. New York City is always changing, and you know, in a place that doesn't have much land, that means we're adding more density when we're redeveloping. Now, development is not necessarily bad. If the development works for the community, I support it. So if we're doing community-based planning, if we're planning sustainably, meaning that we're upping the standards of energy efficiency and you know, how the materials that we're using, so we're zero emission in our development, then that's something I can get behind. So when I was on the local community board, I worked to initiate a community-based planning effort where we held visiting sessions. I facilitated visiting sessions throughout the district where we heard from almost 1,000 residents on their goals and dreams and what they want to see fix and stay in the community. Now, as the next council member, I intend to pass a 197A plan that comprehensively plans our community, because our district has almost 200,000 residents. So if it was a city in Connecticut, it'd be bigger than every single one, like Waterbury, Danbury, all the Stamford. These are cities. You go there, it's a city. We're not treated that way. So any development, it has to work for the community first, not the developers in the landlord's pocket.
For people who don't know who Michael Beltzer is, once again, just let us know.
Michael Beltzer is a proud public school parent of a 7-year-old daughter, and I'm someone who's faced a lot of the issues that people in the community face from a very young age. You know, someone who grew up in the cycle of abuse, whether it be from drugs, whether it be sexual abuse, whether it be domestic violence. I faced those all at a young age, and through that, I really learned that the individual can go and make difference in their life by going and reaching out to networks, whether it be a community network, whether it be a faith-based network, whether it be you know, getting higher education. I mean, I also share with some of the youth in the community. I didn't think I was going to go to college, but working with guidance counselors, working with mentors, they really show me, hey, you can go ahead and do this. So, you know, I've been blessed to be able to have a public education. I went to SUNY Stony Brook and CUNY Baruch to get my MBA in finance and investments. And through that, coupled with volunteer public service, you know, I don't see how people can run for office without doing that first. You know, that really gives me a robust set of experiences and knowledge to really tackle this job.
And last question before we leave, with the crowded field, how optimistic are you about your chances?
We're very optimistic. You know, we ran for office last year. We've been doing a lot of work in the community. So we have name recognition as well. You know, and a lot of people have been really giving a lot of great feedback. Even yesterday, people were like, I see what you're doing. I see you all the time. You know, keep going. So whether win, lose, or draw, this election isn't just about me. A lot of people that are running for office, they make it about them. I'm this kind of candidate. I represent that. No, I want to represent the community first, and that's just not, I'm the city council person. I'm someone that shows up for you. I'm someone that listens to you. So our chances are pretty high because people have been unanimously saying that's what you've been doing. You've been saying what you wanted to do, and you've been showing up and doing it.
Michael Beltzer, thank you so much for coming to join us.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you here In the District. All right. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us. Coming right back.